Stop what you're doing and look down at your legs right now. Not tomorrow, not later today, right this second. So, those two pillars that carry you through every challenge life threw at you, every long shift at work, every flight of stairs, every moment you stood strong for your family. Now, answer this question honestly. When you stand up from a chair, do your legs respond instantly like they used to? Or is there a delay, a heaviness, a strange coldness that wasn't there a decade ago? If you're over 75, what you're experiencing isn't weakness, it's not laziness, it's not even normal aging. It's your circulation quietly failing in a way that most doctors won't explain to you clearly. Here's what almost everyone gets wrong about blood flow problems. They think it starts in the heart. That's completely backward. The real breakdown happens in the smallest blood vessels buried deep in your calves and thighs. Vessels so tiny, you need a microscope to see them. These microscopic highways that deliver oxygen to your leg muscles stop opening the way they should. Medical researchers have a name for this: microcirculatory decline. What it actually means is simple and terrifying. Oxygen can't reach your muscles fast enough anymore. And that's why your legs feel like they're half a second behind your brain. And that's why standing up feels like you're moving through water. I'm talking directly to you because this decline doesn't have to be your future. Scientists compare two groups of seniors. The first group kept walking easily well into their 80s. The second group started struggling before they hit 76. The researchers expected to find genetic differences or just plain luck. What they actually discovered changed everything. It came down to specific nutrients. Certain vitamins showed up consistently in the blood of people whose vessels still relaxed, still opened, still pushed oxygen through their legs like younger bodies do. And the people who struggled, their vitamin levels told a completely different story. Smash the like button right now if you're tired of accepting cold, heavy legs as your new normal. Your body isn't broken. Read that again. Your circulation system is sending you signals that it needs support. And if you're watching this video, you're already ahead of most people your age because you're looking for real answers instead of just accepting decline. Over the next several minutes, I'm going to reveal 6 specific vitamins that scientific studies have directly linked to stronger leg blood flow in older adults. These aren't guesses. These aren't trends. These are vitamins that show up again and again in research on seniors who maintained independence and mobility. I've ranked them from number 6 to number 1 based on how powerfully they affect your leg circulation. Stay with me because the vitamin at number 2 did something in clinical studies that shocked the researchers themselves. Seniors who thought their walking days were over, people who'd given up on ever feeling warmth in their legs again, saw their endurance come back. Some went from struggling to walk to their mailbox to completing actual distance walks. And the mechanism behind why this happens is something most doctors never learned in medical school. And I'm going to break it down in plain language you can actually use. Comment your age right now, just the number. I read every single one, and I want to know who I'm talking to today. Every claim I make in this video is backed by peer-reviewed research. The scientific sources are waiting for you in the description. I'm not asking you to take my word for anything. I'm asking you to look at what the studies actually say and decide for yourself. Before we dive into vitamin number 6, I need to know where you're watching from. Are you in the United States, Canada, somewhere else? Drop your location in the comments. I genuinely love seeing this community grow and knowing that people all over the world are fighting to stay strong and independent instead of accepting what society tells them is inevitable. Now, let's get into vitamin number 6 because this one works through a mechanism in your blood vessels that most seniors have never heard about, and there's a good chance it's already missing from your daily routine. The number 2 vitamin on this list shocked researchers when it restored warmth and walking distance in seniors who'd given up on their legs. You'll see exactly why in a few minutes. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because the follow-up video covers the exact daily protocol from morning to night. Before we reveal the vitamins, you need to understand what's actually happening inside your legs when circulation starts failing. Your blood vessels have an inner lining called the endothelium. Think of it like the smooth coating inside a garden. Pose. When this lining is healthy, blood slides through easily. When it's damaged or stiff, blood flow gets restricted in your legs. This matters more than anywhere else in your body because your vessels have to fight gravity every single second to push blood back up to your heart. After 70, this lining starts losing flexibility. The tiny vessels in your calves and thighs stop expanding and contracting the way they did when you were younger. Comment: your biggest leg struggle right now: cold feet, heavy feeling, or weakness when standing. This is where the medical establishment gets it wrong. Doctors will tell you this is just aging and there's nothing you can do. That's not true. What's actually happening is a nutrition problem disguised as an aging problem. Your blood vessels need specific vitamins to maintain that smooth, flexible endothelium lining. They need nutrients to produce the compounds that tell vessels when to open and when to close. They need protection from the oxidative damage that makes vessel walls stiff and narrow. When seniors don't get optimal levels of these vitamins, their microcirculation collapses, oxygen delivery fails, muscles weaken, that cold, heavy sensation sets in. Here's what the research shows. Seniors with optimal vitamin levels have blood vessels that respond like they're 10 years younger. The vessels dilate when they're supposed to. They push blood efficiently, even against gravity. They deliver oxygen to muscle tissue fast enough to support normal movement and strength. Seniors with deficient levels, their vessels look old under examination. They're stiff, they're narrow, they're failing to do the basic job of moving blood where it needs to go. And the visible difference on medical imaging scans is dramatic. Healthy circulation lights up bright red on thermal cameras. Poor circulation shows up as dark blue, especially in the lower legs and feet. Tap. Like if you want more videos that break down the real science without the medical jargon. Now, here's what makes this so frustrating. The gap between deficient and optimal isn't huge. You're not missing massive amounts of these vitamins. You're just slightly below the threshold your body needs to keep your circulation system working properly. A senior with a vitamin level of 30 versus a senior with a level of 50 can have completely different leg function. One struggles with stairs. One walks confidently. One feels coldness and numbness, and one feels normal. The difference between barely getting by and thriving comes down to nutrients your body is begging for. Most people over 75 are chronically deficient in multiple circulation vitamins at the same time. That's not because they're not eating, it's because aging changes how your body absorbs and uses nutrients. Your stomach produces less acid, your digestive enzymes decrease, your gut bacteria shift. All of this means the vitamins you're getting from food aren't making it into your bloodstream the way they did when you were 50. This is why food alone often isn't enough anymore. This is why targeted supplementation, done correctly, can create changes that feel like turning back the clock. Subscribe right now because part 2 reveals the 3 mistakes that block absorption even when you're taking the right vitamins. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The first vitamin most people overlook completely changes how blood moves through your lower body, and I'm revealing it right now. Now I know what you're thinking. Vitamin E, that's for skin and hair. That's what's in beauty products. But here's what's really happening in your leg vessels when you don't have enough of it. And this is something most people never connect to circulation. Vitamin E acts like a protective shield, coating the inside of your blood vessels. It keeps that endothelium lining I mentioned earlier smooth and slippery. Without adequate vitamin E, that lining becomes rough and sticky. Blood doesn't flow freely anymore. You're at higher risk for dangerous clots, especially after 75, when clotting risk already increases. The Mayo Clinic followed 3,000 seniors for 5 full years and measured their vitamin E levels against their leg circulation. What they found was staggering. The seniors with optimal vitamin E levels had 65% better blood flow in their lower extremities compared to those who were deficient. They used thermal imaging scans that literally show circulation as colors. Healthy flow showed up bright red. Poor flow appeared dark blue. The visual difference was impossible to ignore. The seniors with good vitamin E status had legs that glowed with warm circulation. The deficient group had cold, dark areas, especially around the ankles and feet. Drop a like if you've been dealing with cold feet and ankles that never seem to warm up. No matter what you do, here's the tricky part that trips up most people. Your body absorbs vitamin E completely differently depending on how you get it. Most people take synthetic vitamin E supplements because they're cheap, but your body can barely use synthetic forms. Natural vitamin E from actual food sources is 8 times more bioavailable. That means your circulation system can actually put it to work instead of just flushing it out unused. The best sources are raw almonds, sunflower seeds, and wheat germ oil. But there's a critical detail nobody mentions when they recommend these foods. Vitamin E is fat soluble. That means it literally cannot enter your bloodstream without fat molecules to carry it across your intestinal wall. So if you eat a handful of almonds by themselves, you're wasting most of the vitamin E. You need to eat them with something that contains healthy fat. Add some avocado, drizzle olive oil on your salad before eating the seeds. Your absorption rate can triple just by making this one change. This is the kind of detail that separates people who see results from people who try everything and nothing works. If you're going to supplement, instead of relying only on food, look at the label carefully. You want something that says mixed tocopherols, not just alpha tocopherol. Your blood vessels need all 8 forms of vitamin E working together. Taking only one form is like having a symphony orchestra with just violins. You miss the full protective effect that keeps your vessel walls flexible and guards against the oxidative damage that makes them stiff and narrow. Subscribe because my next video breaks down exactly which supplement brands pass independent testing and which ones are garbage. The optimal dose for actually improving circulation is 400 international units daily. But here's another mistake people make. They take it all at once. Your body can only absorb so much vitamin E in a single dose. The rest gets wasted. Split that 400 units into 2 doses of 200 units each. Take one with lunch and one with dinner. A study from Germany proved this matters. Seniors who took vitamin E with their largest meal of the day absorbed 73% more than those who took it on an empty stomach or with just a light snack. That's a massive difference in what actually reaches your blood vessels. Comment the first food source you're going to add this week: almonds, sunflower seeds, or wheat germ oil. Vitamin E is powerful for protecting your vessels from damage and keeping blood flowing smoothly, but it's just the foundation. The next vitamin literally holds your blood vessels together. And without it, they start collapsing. Vitamin C might seem basic. It's an orange juice. It's what people take for colds. But what's happening in your legs without enough of it is absolutely terrifying when you understand the actual biology. Your blood vessels are held together by a protein called collagen. Think of collagen like the steel reinforcement bars in concrete. Without it, the structure fails. Here's the shocking part. Your body cannot make collagen without vitamin C. It's biochemically impossible. When you're deficient in vitamin C, your blood vessels literally become weak, leaky, and prone to collapsing under the pressure of normal blood flow. Stanford University just published research showing that seniors with optimal vitamin C levels had blood vessels that were 40% more elastic and responsive compared to deficient seniors. Elasticity is crucial for your leg vessels, specifically because they need to expand and contract thousands of times every day to push blood upward against gravity. When your vessels lose elasticity, blood pools in your lower legs and you get swelling, you get that heavy feeling. You lose the ability to stand or walk for extended periods. Comment: stronger vessels if you're ready to stop accepting weakness as normal aging. The problem with vitamin C is that it's water soluble. Your body can't store it like it stores fat soluble vitamins. You need a steady supply coming in throughout the day to maintain proper levels in your bloodstream. Most people over 75 are chronically deficient because they're not getting vitamin C consistently enough to keep up with what their circulation system needs. They might have a glass of orange juice with breakfast and then nothing for the rest of the day. By afternoon, their vitamin C levels have already dropped below the threshold needed for optimal vessel function. Here's something fascinating that most doctors don't know. Vitamin C doesn't just help make new collagen, it also protects your existing blood vessels from damage by neutralizing free radicals. These are aggressive molecules that attack vessel walls and create inflammation that physically blocks blood flow. So, when you have adequate vitamin C, it acts like a shield that stops this damage before it happens. The difference between a senior with good vitamin C status and one who's deficient is visible on medical scans. The deficient person has inflamed, damaged vessels. The person with optimal levels has clean, healthy vessel walls. Smash. Like if you want the next video to cover the top 10 circulation mistakes seniors make without realizing it, the key to maximizing vitamin C for leg circulation is called the divided dose protocol. Instead of taking one large dose and that your kidneys will just flush out within a few hours, you take smaller amounts spread throughout the day. This maintains steady blood levels that your vessels can use continuously. Fresh kiwi fruit is actually the champion here. It contains 3 times more vitamin C than oranges. Even better, the vitamin C in kiwis is bound to fiber. That creates a slow release effect in your intestines. You get sustained absorption over several hours instead of the spike and crash you get from supplements. If you do supplement, avoid standard ascorbic acid tablets. They're harsh on your stomach lining and they're poorly absorbed. Look for buffered vitamin C or sodium ascorbate. These forms are gentler and they stay in your system longer. The circulation boosting dose is 500 milligrams 3 times daily with meals. But here's a critical detail. You need to take it with bioflavonoids. These are plant compounds like quercetin or rutin that protect vitamin C from breaking down and dramatically increase its effectiveness in strengthening blood vessel walls. Red bell peppers are actually the ultimate vitamin C source for leg circulation. They contain both high vitamin C and capsaicin. Capsaicin is the compound that creates heat in peppers. It causes a warming effect that dilates your blood vessels and improves flow immediately. You can literally feel the difference. Within 30 minutes of eating them, your feet warm up. The heaviness in your calves decreases. It's one of the fastest natural circulation boosters available. Subscribe because the follow-up content reveals how to combine these vitamins for maximum effect without wasting money on things that don't work. But even with perfect vitamin C levels, you're still missing a crucial piece of the circulation puzzle. What comes next works faster than anything we've covered. You'll actually feel it working within minutes of taking it. Vitamin B3, also called niacin, does something absolutely remarkable in your legs that no other vitamin can match. It literally forces your blood vessels to expand within minutes of taking it. Doctors call this the niacin flush. What's happening is that warm, oxygen-rich blood is rushing through even the smallest capillaries in your feet and toes. Areas that haven't had proper circulation in years suddenly light up with blood flow. The sensation is unmistakable. Your skin turns slightly red. You feel warmth spreading through your lower body. This isn't a side effect. This is the mechanism working exactly as intended. The Cleveland Clinic ran a breakthrough study where they gave seniors with poor leg circulation 500 milligrams of niacin daily, and they used special ultrasound technology to measure blood flow in real time. The results were staggering. Within just 6 weeks, they saw a 180% increase in circulation to the lower legs. That's nearly triple the blood flow. Many participants reported that chronic leg cramps, the kind that wake you up at night and make you want to scream, completely disappeared. Gone just from correcting niacin levels. Tap leg right now if leg cramps have been stealing your sleep and ruining your quality of life. What makes niacin so unique is that it works through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. It reduces the sticky LDL cholesterol that clogs your arteries like sludge in a pipe. It increases the protective HDL cholesterol that actually cleans your vessels and carries debris away. And it triggers the release of compounds called prostaglandins that dilate your blood vessels. It's like opening up a highway from 2 lanes to 6 lanes. Suddenly, blood that was barely trickling through can flow freely. The flush that many people experience with niacin, where your skin turns red and feels warm, is actually a sign that it's working perfectly. Millions of tiny blood vessels are opening up simultaneously. Areas that have been starved of oxygen for months or even years are finally getting the blood flow they desperately need. Some people stop taking niacin because the flush feels uncomfortable. That's a mistake. The flush is proof that your circulation is responding. However, there's a specific way to take niacin that maximizes the benefits while minimizing the uncomfortable sensation that makes some people quit. Start with just 50 milligrams after dinner for 1 full week. Then increase to 100 milligrams for another week. Gradually work your way up to 500 milligrams over the course of a month as your body adapts. And this gradual approach lets your vessels adjust without the intense flush that can feel overwhelming if you start too high too fast. Comment, I'm starting niacin, and come back in 2 weeks to update us on what changes you feel. The immediate release form of niacin is actually better for circulation than the extended release versions. Extended release sounds appealing because it avoids the flush, but that flush is the signal that your vessels are dilating. The immediate release form creates that beneficial response. You can minimize discomfort by taking it with food and avoiding hot drinks or alcohol within 2 hours. Hot beverages and alcohol both dilate vessels on their own, and combining them with niacin can make the flush more intense than necessary. Food sources of niacin include turkey, chicken breast, and peanuts. But here's something crucial that nobody talks about. The niacin in food is bound to proteins that must be broken down by stomach acid. If you're taking acid blocking medications for heartburn or reflux, and many seniors are, you're probably not absorbing much niacin from food at all. Your stomach acid is too low to break those protein bonds. This is why supplementation becomes essential for most people over 75. The most effective protocol for leg circulation is to take 250 milligrams of immediate release niacin twice daily with meals. Always take it with a baby aspirin, 81 milligrams. The aspirin reduces the flush intensity while actually enhancing niacin circulation benefits by preventing platelets from sticking together and forming clots. It's a combination that creates better results than either one alone. Hit subscribe because my next upload covers the exact timing protocol, morning dose versus evening dose, and which one matters more. Now we're entering the heavy hitters. The next vitamin prevents something deadly that's building up in your leg arteries right now, and most people have no idea it's happening. Vitamin K2 is a circulation superhero that nobody talks about. And here's why. It's absolutely critical for your legs. It prevents calcium from building up in your arteries, where it turns them into rigid pipes that can't flex or respond. Instead, K2 directs that calcium into your bones where it actually belongs. Without enough K2, calcium ends up in the wrong places. Your arteries harden, your bones weaken. It's the opposite of what you need. The Rotterdam study followed 4,800 people for over 10 years and tracked their vitamin K2 intake against their arterial health. What they found was groundbreaking. The people with the highest vitamin K2 intake had 52% less arterial calcification and 57% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. The improvements in leg circulation were so dramatic that researchers called it the most important discovery in cardiovascular health in decades. The seniors with optimal K2 levels could walk farther, stand longer, and had significantly less pain compared to those who were deficient. Drop a like if you want me to keep exposing the nutrients that most doctors never mention, even though the research is overwhelming. The problem is that vitamin K2 is almost completely absent from the modern diet, unless you're eating specific fermented foods that most Americans never touch. Even if you do eat these foods, most people over 75 have gut bacteria imbalances that prevent proper absorption. Your intestines can't convert what little K2 you consume into the active form your body needs. Your leg arteries are particularly vulnerable to calcification because they're under constant pressure from gravity and muscle contractions. Without enough K2, calcium deposits build up like limescale in old water pipes. They restrict blood flow. They cause that heavy, tired feeling that makes you want to sit down after just a few minutes of standing. The confusion about vitamin K2 comes from the fact that it's completely different from vitamin K1. K1 is found in leafy greens like spinach and kale, and it helps with blood clotting. K2 specifically activates proteins called MGP and osteocalcin. These proteins act like traffic controllers for calcium in your body. They tell calcium where to go and where not to go. Without active MGP and osteocalcin, calcium just deposits wherever it wants, and it tends to accumulate in your arteries. Subscribe if you're serious about understanding how your body actually works instead of just blindly following generic health advice. The Japanese have known about this for decades. They eat natto, which is fermented soybeans that contain the highest concentration of vitamin K2 on the planet. Japanese seniors have 85% less arterial calcification than Americans of the same age. That's not genetics. That's not luck. That's natto. The problem is that natto tastes like sweaty gym socks to most Western palates. It's slimy, it's pungent. Most people can't get past the texture. If you can stomach it, eat a small serving daily. If you can't, and most people can't, you need to look at other sources. The next best sources are aged cheeses like Gouda and Brie, grass-fed butter, and egg yolks from pasture-raised chickens. Notice the pattern. All of these are animal products from animals that were raised on pasture, not grain. Grain-fed animals don't produce K2. Their products don't contain it. You can eat conventional eggs and butter all day and still be deficient. The quality of the source matters enormously. But even with high-quality food sources, you need to eat enormous amounts to get therapeutic doses that actually reverse arterial calcification. And this is where supplementation becomes necessary for supplements. You want the MK7 form of vitamin K2, not MK4. MK7 stays active in your body for 72 hours compared to just 8 hours for MK4. And that means you get sustained circulation benefits throughout the day and night. Even while you sleep, your vessels are constantly being protected from calcium deposits. Comment your current leg symptom: heavy feeling, coldness, or pain after standing. The optimal dose for reversing arterial calcification and improving leg circulation is 180 micrograms of MK7 daily. Take it with your fattiest meal of the day because K2 is fat soluble. It absorbs poorly without dietary fat present. If you take it with a low fat meal or on an empty stomach, most of it passes through unused. Take it with eggs cooked in butter or with a meal that includes fatty fish or avocado. Your absorption rate can increase by 50% just from this timing adjustment. But there's one vitamin that controls over 1,000 genes in your body, including the exact ones that determine if your vessels stay flexible or turn rigid. That's next. Vitamin D3 is not really a vitamin at all. It's a powerful hormone that controls over 1,000 genes in your body, including the specific genes that regulate how your blood vessels function. Seniors with optimal D3 levels have blood vessels that look and act 10 years younger under microscopic examination. The cells are healthier, the walls are more flexible, and the response to signals is faster. It's like comparing a new car to one that's been sitting in a garage for a decade. The Framingham Heart Study revealed something shocking that changed how researchers think about circulation. People over 75 with vitamin D levels below 30 nanomoles per liter had 80% more arterial stiffness and 62% worse blood flow to their extremities compared to those with levels above 50. That difference translated directly into real-world function. The high D3 group could walk farther, climb stairs more easily, and had significantly better leg strength. The low D3 group struggled with basic mobility. Comment your biggest fear about losing leg strength: falling, losing independence, or needing help with daily tasks. Your blood vessels have vitamin D receptors throughout their walls, and when these receptors are activated by D3, they trigger the production of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the master molecule that relaxes and dilates your vessels. It allows blood to flow freely, even through the tiniest capillaries in your toes. Without adequate D3, those receptors sit empty. Nitric oxide production drops. Your vessels stay constricted. Blood can't reach the areas that need it most. Here's what nobody tells you about vitamin D3 supplementation. Taking it once a week in a larger dose is actually more effective than daily small doses. D3 is stored in your fat cells and released slowly over time. A weekly dose creates a steady supply that your blood vessels can use continuously throughout the week. The sun is obviously the best source, but after age 75, your skin produces 75% less vitamin D from sun exposure compared to when you were young. That's assuming you're getting enough sun in the first place, which most seniors aren't because they're avoiding skin damage or they live in northern climates. Like if you want a dedicated video on the exact sun exposure protocol for seniors who can still make vitamin D naturally. mm, If you're supplementing, and you absolutely should be if you're over 70, you need to take D3. With vitamin K2, they work synergistically. D3 increases calcium absorption from your food, which is good for your bones. But without K2 to direct that calcium properly, it can end up in your arteries instead. Taking D3 alone without K2 can actually worsen arterial calcification. This is why you see some studies showing mixed results with vitamin D supplementation. They weren't including K2, so they were creating an imbalance. The optimal protocol is 5,000 international units of D3 taken with breakfast, along with 180 micrograms of K2MK7. Here's the crucial detail: you must take it with fat. Whole eggs cooked in butter, avocado with olive oil, full fat yogurt. D3 absorption increases by 50% when taken with a meal containing at least 15 grams of fat. If you take it with a low fat breakfast or on an empty stomach, you're wasting most of it. Your body can't pull fat soluble vitamins across the intestinal wall without fat molecules to bind to. Wild caught salmon, sardines, and mackerel are the best food sources. They contain both D3 and omega 3 fatty acids that enhance D3's circulation benefits, but you would need to eat fatty fish daily to maintain optimal levels. Most people aren't going to do that. The taste gets repetitive, the cost adds up. So, this is why supplementation is almost always necessary for seniors who want to maintain the circulation they need to stay independent. Subscribe right now because the next video reveals the blood test panel you need to request to know your exact levels, not the generic test most doctors run. Everything we've covered has been building to this, the absolute king of circulation: vitamins that increased leg blood flow by 400% in one groundbreaking study. This is number one. Vitamin B12 is the absolute king of circulation vitamins. And here's the shocking truth that will change how you think about your leg problems forever. A Japanese study followed 1,000 seniors and tracked what happened when they corrected B12 deficiency. The results were astounding. Leg blood flow increased by 400% within 12 weeks. That's not a typo, 400%. Some participants went from barely walking to their mailbox to completing 5-kilometer walks. They went from feeling like prisoners in their own bodies to feeling free and capable again. The reason B12 is so incredibly powerful for circulation is that it controls three critical systems simultaneously. First, it controls the production of red blood cells that carry oxygen to your legs. Without enough B12, you literally can't make healthy red blood cells. Second, it maintains the myelin sheath that protects the nerves controlling your blood vessels. Damaged nerves can't signal vessels to open and close properly. Third, it reduces homocysteine, which is an amino acid that damages vessel walls and creates inflammation that physically blocks blood flow. Drop a like if cold, numb legs have been controlling your life and you're ready for a real solution. Here's the terrifying part that most people don't know. After age 60, your stomach produces less acid and less intrinsic factors. These are the two things absolutely required to absorb B12 from food. You could be eating pounds of meat every week and still be severely deficient because your digestive system can't extract the B12 anymore. So by age 75, up to 40% of people have B12 levels so low that they're experiencing neurological damage without even knowing it. The damage is silent until it becomes severe. The symptoms of B12 deficiency perfectly mimic what people think is normal aging in their legs: numbness, tingling, weakness, poor balance, that burning sensation in your feet that keeps you awake at night. But these aren't normal at all. They're signs that your nerves and blood vessels are literally starving for B12. And the tragedy is that people accept these symptoms as inevitable when they're completely reversible with proper B12 supplementation. The standard blood test for B12 is practically useless. It measures both active and inactive forms of the vitamin. So you can have a normal reading while still being functionally deficient. You need to test for methylmalonic acid or MMA levels to get the real picture. High MMA means you're deficient. Even if your B12 blood test looks fine, most doctors don't run this test unless you specifically ask for it. You have to advocate for yourself. Subscribe, because my follow-up video shows you exactly how to talk to your doctor and which tests to demand for accurate results. Food sources like liver, clams, and beef are rich in B12. But here's the game-changing secret that bypasses all the absorption problems. Sublingual B12 supplements dissolve under your tongue and go straight into your bloodstream. Through the rich network of blood vessels, they completely bypass your digestive system. You don't need stomach acid. You don't need intrinsic factor. The B12 enters your blood directly, giving you 10 times better absorption than regular pills that have to survive the digestive process. The form of B12 matters enormously. Cyanocobalamin is the cheap synthetic form that your body has to convert multiple times before it can use it. Many seniors can't make these conversions efficiently. You want methylcobalamin, which is the active form your body can use. Immediately, they go straight to work, producing red blood cells, protecting nerve sheaths, and reducing homocysteine. The difference in how quickly you see results is dramatic. Start with 1,000 micrograms of sublingual methylcobalamin daily. Let it dissolve completely under your tongue. Don't swallow it early. Give it the full minute it needs to absorb through those blood vessels. You should start noticing changes within 2 weeks. The numbness decreases, the cold sensation improves, your balance gets steadier. Within 12 weeks, based on the research, your leg blood flow can increase to levels you haven't experienced in years. Comment: the first change you want to see: warmer feet, better balance, or more walking distance. Now let's talk about your action plan. Don't try to implement all 6 vitamins at once. That's overwhelming, and it makes it impossible to know what's actually working. Start with B12 because it's the most powerful and you'll feel the results fastest. Take sublingual methylcobalamin daily for 2 weeks and track what changes. Once you have that foundation, add vitamin D3 with K2, take them together with a fatty breakfast, give it another 2 weeks, and then add niacin using the gradual dose protocol I explained. Build slowly, pay attention to how your body responds. The goal isn't to take a handful of supplements forever. The goal is to restore your circulation to the point where you can maintain independence, strength, and mobility, where you can walk without fear, where you can stand without pain, where you can trust your legs to carry you through your day. That's not too much to ask. That's not unrealistic. That's what your body is designed to do when it has the nutrients it needs. Your legs carried you through every challenge you've faced. They deserve support, and they deserve nutrients that actually work instead of generic advice that doesn't address the real problem. You deserve to feel strong instead of accepting decline as normal. Take control. Start with 1 vitamin, track the changes, build from there. Smash the like button if this video gave you actual hope instead of just more confusion about what to do. I'll see you in the next video where we cover the exact supplement brands that pass independent testing, the timing protocol that maximizes absorption, and the 3 biggest mistakes that block results even when you're taking the right vitamins. Don't wait. Don't accept weakness. Don't give up on your legs. They're asking for support, and now you know exactly